Hello and welcome to this lecture in marketing, communication and consumer behavior. In this lecture, we are going to talk about measurement of advertising effectiveness. So, let me take you through the slideshow and we will discuss each and every slide to cover this lecture. Coming to our first slide of the lecture. Firstly, we are going to discuss about what effectiveness of advertisement actually means. So, when we are doing advertising or when we are displaying advertisements on any media platform, we are actually trying to make consumer aware about our product or about our services. So, at that time our objective is to make the consumer aware. Side by side, we can also have an objective of increasing our sales. So, when we are showing an advertisement on a television in which some discount is being announced, we are actually doing so with an objective of increasing the sales in the shorter run. So, therefore, while advertising, we can have the organization or the company can have certain objectives in their mind. Now, by effectiveness of advertising, what we mean is the extent to which we are able to meet our objectives which we had decided before advertising. So, therefore, I would like to read out this point that advertising effectiveness refers to an evaluation of the extent to which a specific advertisement or an advertisement campaign meets the objectives set by the organization. Now, you have to understand the difference between a single advertisement and an advertisement campaign. An advertisement campaign can contain a series of different advertisements for the same product for a particular period of time. So, a campaign is run, for example, let us say we have the World Cup of cricket, and in Cricket World Cup, Pepsi comes up with an advertisement campaign in which there are different types of ads, each for the same cold drink of Pepsi, and that advertisement campaign will go on for a limited period of time till the time the Cricket World Cup goes on. So, a single advertisement is different from an advertisement campaign, but both a single advertisement as well as an advertisement campaign can have certain set of objectives. The effectiveness of an advertisement or an advertisement campaign will depend on the extent to which these objectives were met. So, that is our topic of this slide. Effectiveness of the source. So, what all do we cover? Measuring the effectiveness of advertisement is an area of marketing research, and organization's objective of measuring an advertisement's effectiveness is to be able to optimize the expenditure. Now, why do organizations measure the effectiveness of the ad? There are a number of reasons as to why the organizations measure the effectiveness of their advertisement. But before that, we have to understand that effectiveness, the measurement of advertising effectiveness is actually the area of marketing research. So, therefore, a company can have its own marketing research wing to do this task, or it can outsource this task to another research firm, a marketing research firm which can measure the effectiveness of its advertisement. The organization's objective of measuring ad effectiveness is to allocate an optimal ad budget. Now, what do we understand by an optimal ad budget? An optimal ad budget is defined as that ad budget at which the sales of the company gets maximized and also the satisfaction of the consumer gets maximized. So, optimal ad budget is the one at which the sales as well as the satisfaction of the consumer gets maximized. So, that kind of a budget is called optimal budget, and because every company wants to maximize their sales and every company also wants to satisfy more and more consumer and maximize this consumer satisfaction. So, therefore, it is imperative and important for every company to find out what its optimal ad budget is, and to find out what its optimal ad budget is, it is important for the company to find out what is the effectiveness of its advertisement effort or advertisement. So, therefore, this is a very important task as to find out what is the effectiveness of advertisement for any company. Moving to the next slide. The next slide actually talks about what to evaluate. So, it means that when we are trying to find out the effectiveness of advertisements and when we are trying to calculate it through marketing research, etc., what are we actually going to evaluate? So, therefore, to discuss this point, let us say we are giving an advertisement. So, an advertisement will go in the form of a message, and that message will have to be displayed on some media. So, the media will act as the channel, or the media will act as the bridge for the communication. There will be a source and there will be an audience. So, therefore, the source and the audience will be at the extreme end of the media, and the message will go through the media towards the audience, and then audience will capture, or the audience will see that message, and they will try to understand what the message is all about. So, basically advertising is also a kind of communication process. So, what we are going to evaluate here is, we are going to evaluate the effectiveness of the source, how the market responds to the source. We are going to evaluate the effectiveness of the message, what type of message actually was conveyed to the audience. We are going to evaluate the effectiveness of the media, the popularity of the media or the media vehicle through which the message was sent to the audience, and we are going to calculate the effectiveness of the budget, which means your expenditure, which should be optimal. And optimal expenditure, as we have already discussed, is the expenditure at which both the sales as well as the consumer satisfaction gets maximized. Now, the question arises, when to evaluate ad effectiveness. So, what is the point at which ad effectiveness should be evaluated? So, the answer to this question is, an ad effectiveness can be evaluated at any given point of time before the advertisement reaches the people, or during the advertisement process, when the advertisement is in the process of reaching the people, when it is on the media, which is called the running of the ad. So, it can be done before the advertisement starts, it can be done during the running of the advertisement, or it can also be done after the running of the advertisement is over. So, a company or an organization has to decide as to when it wants to measure advertisement effectiveness. It can do so at any given point of time, before it starts running the ad on the media, during the time at which the ad is running on the media, or after the advertisement running on the media is over. So, any of the time segment can be decided, and then evaluation of ad effectiveness can be done. An organization can select suitable timing to evaluate ad effectiveness according to its ability and suitability. So, it is the organization, or rather the marketing research firm, which is involved in doing this activity, which has to take this decision. Marketing research firm can be an internal to the organization, or it can be an external firm outside the organization towards which this activity has been outsourced. So, it is actually the prerogative of the research wing to decide at which point of time they want to evaluate ad effectiveness. Now, how to evaluate ad effectiveness? In this, we are going to discuss what are the various techniques, what are the various methods which are available, using which we can measure ad effectiveness. So, there are three different types of categories in which we can divide the various techniques and methods which are available for evaluation of ad effectiveness. Now, there are pre-testing methods, concurrent testing methods, and post-testing methods. Now, in the previous slides, we were discussing about the time period in which evaluation of ad effectiveness can be done, and we had discussed that there can be three time periods: before the advertisement is run on the media, during the time in which the ad is being run on the media, and the third one was when the running of the ad on the media is over. So, pre-testing methods, let me define these. Pre-testing methods are actually those methods which are used to evaluate the ad effectiveness at a time when the advertisement is still not running on the media. So, when you are measuring the ad effectiveness before the ad runs on the media, you are actually using methods which are contained in the category of pre-testing methods. Now, there is something called concurrent testing methods. Now, concurrent, the word concurrent means simultaneous or along with. So, concurrent testing methods are the category in which there are methods and techniques which are used to measure the evaluation, which are used to evaluate the effectiveness of advertisements at a time when the advertisements are running on the media vehicle. So, while an advertisement is on the air and while the people is watching it, when the evaluation is being done at such a time, then those techniques are contained under this category of concurrent testing methods. Third is post testing methods. In the post testing methods, like the name says, the techniques or the methods contained in this category are those which are applied for evaluation of ad effectiveness once the advertisement stops running on the media vehicle. Media vehicle is basically the platform on which the advertisement is running. So, media vehicle can be a TV or a radio or a newspaper or a magazine or a hoarding or anything like that. So, there are three different set of methods: pre-testing method, concurrent testing method and post-testing method. Now, in the next slide we are going to take a look at all the various testing methods. So, there are these three categories: the pre-testing methods, the concurrent testing methods and post-testing methods. Now, let me just spell out the various techniques which are mentioned here. So, when we talk about pre-testing methods, we have the checklist method, the opinion test method, the inquiry method and mechanical test method. While when we talk about the concurrent testing methods, we have co-incidental surveys, we have consumer diaries, we have methods called mechanical devices methods, and then we have also methods such as traffic counts. And then when we talk about post testing methods, we have split run tests, we have recognition tests, we have various recall tests and we have sales tests. So, these are the various techniques which are listed in a summarized manner. Now, in the slides to follow, we are going to discuss all these techniques in detail. So, firstly we are going to talk about pre-testing methods. In the pre-testing methods, there are checklist test. Checklist is a list of items against which the consumers have to, or the people, the respondents have to put a tick against and they have to rank. So, in the checklist contains all the list of the qualities which are to be possessed by an advertisement, and the ratings are provided against the items on the checklist, and the ad that gets the highest rating is then approved or considered as the best advertisement. So, there are number of advertisements and there are respondents, and the respondents are given the responsibility of ranking the various qualities which must be there in an advertisement, and such a checklist is then responded to by the respondents, and accordingly the best advertisement is found out. So, this is called the checklist method. In opinion test method, these methods are also called the consumer jury test. Here the a group of small consumer is considered, they are made the jury, and based on the opinion of this small set of consumers, the best advertisement among the many advertisement is then decided on the basis of the opinion given by this set of consumer jury. Third types of pre-testing methods are inquiry tests. Now, inquiry, as we all know, refers to asking questions. So, here what happens is it involves running of 2 or more ads on a limited scale, and the effectiveness of the ad is tested on the basis of number of inquiries made on the offer. So, suppose you have 2 advertisements, you have to run those advertisements simultaneously, and then you have to wait and see, the company has to wait and see how many inquiries are received by the company for these particular advertisements. So, there is an advertisement A and there is an advertisement B, and both are run simultaneously, and suppose 20 inquiries are coming for advertisement A, and let us say only 15 inquiries are coming for advertisement B. So, in that case advertisement A will be considered better than advertisement B, because advertisement A will be considered that it provoked more responses and therefore larger number of inquiries. So, this is the inquiry test which is done. Then a fourth kind of method which is done with the use of mechanical devices. Using mechanical devices, the movement of the eyes of the consumers as well as their emotions are captured. So, the motion of the eyeball and the dilation of the eyes and other emotions from eyes are captured using mechanical devices. And there is this very popular instrument called psychogalvanometer. Now, psychogalvanometer actually covers it is used to measure the emotions of a person and then emotions of the person by seeing an advertisement. So, this is a very popular device which is used for assessing the kind of emotional state of a person while he or she is watching an ad. And then there are multipurpose eye movement cameras which are used for this purpose. So, when you have devices like these, and there are other devices also such as tachistoscope and perceptoscope. Perceptoscope, as we know, it kind of tries to capture the perception of the consumer. So, when devices such as these are made use of in measuring ad effectiveness, then such methods are called mechanical devices methods. So, we will just quickly recap the 4 kinds of methods. In pre-testing, we have the checklist method, the opinion test, the inquiry test, as well as the mechanical devices method. Now, after the pre-test methods, we come to concurrent testing techniques, or these are used for measurement of ad effectiveness. And the special thing is that these techniques or these methods are used while the ad is on air or while the ad is running on the media vehicle. So, the first type of technique which is used here is co-incidental surveys. Now, co-incidental surveys means at the same time, coincident. So, when an advertisement is running on a media, let us say television, a number of consumers are given a phone call, and then when the consumers picks up, this marketing research firm actually asks them that is the ad running on the TV or not at the time they have called, and then these consumers have to answer them in yes or no. And there are certain questions which are asked by this marketing research firm, and accordingly the result of the survey are used to share the response for this particular ad. So, this involves contacting a number of households on the phone, and the households are asked if the TV or the radio which is on and is the ad playing or not. So, this is called co-incidental surveys, and these are done by marketing research firms. And then second kind of methods are called consumer diaries. Now, consumer diaries, as we all know that we all use diaries in which we write our experiences and we write our tasks and whatever we have to do. So, similarly, a small set of consumers are decided and diaries are given to the sample of households or those consumers, and then those consumers are asked to mention an account of the programs that they have watched. So, the consumers will be given diaries for the particular time period, and then the ads will run on the various media, and then consumers will write an account of whatever experience or whatever programs that they watched and whatever experience they had after watching that program, or whether or not they came across a particular ad, or how many times they came across a particular ad, and all these details they will mention in a particular diary, and that diary will be taken by the marketing research firm, and whatever data is contained in the diary will be then analyzed, and then search results will be shared by the company for which the ad was being run on various media vehicles. So, this is the method of using consumer diaries. After this method, we move to the next method, that is again using mechanical devices. So, as we have already discussed this method of using mechanical devices. So, there are devices which are used to capture the movement of eyeballs. There are devices which are used to capture the emotions of the consumer, the dilation of their eyes, and devices like camera, devices like psychogalvanometer, devices like tachistoscope, and devices like perceptometer. These kinds of mechanical devices are used for capturing various emotions and movement of eyes. And while they were being used in pre-testing methods, these devices are also used in concurrent testing techniques for measuring ad effectiveness. Now, next method or the next technique which is used in concurrent testing of ad effectiveness is traffic counts. So, suppose we consider a scenario in which there is a hoarding, and that hoarding is situated at some corner of a highway. So, how are we going to measure the effectiveness of such an advertisement which is being done on the roadside by putting up a large hoarding? So, traffic counts are the techniques which is used in such cases. Now, what is done here is this method is applied to outdoor advertising. So, in outdoor advertising, we actually consider the hoarding and the boards and billboards, etc., and banners also. So, the traffic counting can be done by public, private organizations, etc. So, the marketing research firm will actually make a representative of theirs, it will actually make him stand, and then that representative will take account of the people which are passing by that hoarding or passing by that billboard, and it will record that count, and this count will be repeated a number of times, different times of the day this counting will be repeated, and then the search results will be shared by the organization or the parent company which has the product or services advertising. In this method, the number of vehicles passing by or an advertisement hoarding or a wall etc. is recorded for analysis purpose. So, the data which is gathered by counting the traffic is then given to the company, and then this data is analyzed. We are coming to the post testing techniques for measurement of ad effectiveness. In post testing method, the first technique is split run test. Now, in the split run test, a particular ad is actually assessed for various qualities. These qualities are it is actually split into various elements like appeal, layout, headline etc., and the various parts or various I should say elements of the ad are then separately assessed and analyzed. So, readers or whosoever the respondents are, those respondents are encouraged to reply to the inquiries of the keyed addresses. So, the special thing is that the ad copy is split into various elements, and then each and every element is then separately assessed by the respondents. The next technique or the next tests are recognition tests. In this method, it is a memory based method actually. A number of people might have seen the ad before, and then the interviewer actually tries to assess that what do they recall about that particular advertisement. So, it attempts to determine the number of persons who have seen the ads before, and to arrive at the result, readership or listenership surveys are conducted. So, we must have also come across such kind of surveys in which on social media or on various other media vehicles, there is a window which asks that whether you have seen a particular ad in the last 10 days or last 5 days. So, this is more of a recall test, this is more of a memory based test in which the various aspects of the advertisements are asked from the respondent. And the next method in post testing techniques is recall test. Now, recalling is actually a very important function for ad effectiveness of advertising. It means that if a large number of people are able to recall the advertisement of a particular company, it means the advertisement was extremely effective, because people will be able to recall only those advertisements which will create an impact on their minds. So, therefore, in recall tests, recalling is better than recognizing as a test of memory, and in this method the respondents are not allowed to look at the ad, but it attempts to check the extent to which they have remembered the ad. So, therefore, in recall tests, people are actually asked to recall the various aspects of the ad, or what do they remember, or do they remember the jingle which was playing in the text, or do they in the ad, or do they remember the particular color or particular actions which were happening in the ad, and all these things are asked from the respondents. And if they are able to recall, the more they are able to recall correctly, it is considered the ad was effective, and if they are not able to recall correctly, it is considered that the ad was not effective. The fourth type of test which is conducted in the post testing techniques is sales tests. So, it is a very straightforward method in which it represents a controlled experimental condition, and it attempts to establish a direct relationship between the sales and the advertising. So, what happens is that the ad is displayed on a particular media, and then it is observed for a limited period of time as to what amount of sales did that particular ad attract. Now, this method can also be used to compare one media against the other, which means that you can actually also measure the effectiveness of media using this method. So, suppose you are displaying your ad on two different media, let us say TV and radio. So, if the TV media, and if you assess that the TV media is attracting larger sales, and people are able to recognize and people are able to recall the TV ad, it means that the TV is a more effective medium as compared to radio. because the TV is giving you higher sales and people are able to recall the TV ads more than they are able to recall your radio advertising. So, these were the particular methods. Now, let us once again go back to this slide and let us once again give a quick recap of what we learned from this lecture. We were discussing about the various techniques for advertisement effectiveness. So, the various techniques were divided into three categories: the pre-testing, concurrent testing and post-testing. Pre-testing, like we discussed, was before the ad goes on your media vehicle. Concurrent testing was done when the ad is running on the media vehicle, and post testing was done after the ad has run on the media vehicle and the advertisement campaign is over. So, in pre-testing we had these four methods: the checklist method, the opinion method, the inquiry test and mechanical devices tests. While in concurrent testing we had co-incidental surveys, we had consumer diaries, which was very important test. In consumer diaries, diaries were given to the consumer and they were taken after some time, and then the data which was contained in the diary was then used to do some analysis and reach to a particular conclusion. Now, this also contained mechanical devices. Mechanical devices, very popular mechanical devices are Galvanometer, and then we have the eye camera, then we have the devices such as perceptometer. And then this also contained traffic counts, and traffic counts was a method which was particularly used for outdoor advertising, or what we call the billboards, the hoardings and the banners which are situated and which are erected at the roadsides. Then the third was post testing. In the post testing there was something called split run. In the split run, the advertisement was broken into various elements, and each and every element the effectiveness was measured by using a particular group of respondents. And then we had the recognition tests and recall tests. Recall tests were particularly considered very effective because the more the number of people are able to recall a particular ad, the higher will be its effectiveness, because people are able to recall only those advertisements which are very impactful. And last but not the least, the sales test was a kind of experimental scenario in which the advertisement was run and then sales were observed for a particular time period after running that ad. And this particular test was also used for comparing two medias, the effectiveness of two medias. So, with this we come to the end of this lecture on measurement of ad effectiveness. And before I conclude this lecture, I would like to share my email ID with you. My name is Ashish Avasthi and I am working as an assistant professor at IMS Engineering College, Ghaziabad, in the department of MBA. Kindly take down my email ID. It is ashish.awasthi@imsec.ac.in. In case there is any question, or in case there is any problem or any confusion regarding the lecture, kindly write down to me and I will try to reply your query to the best of my ability. So, therefore, I conclude this lecture on consumer behavior and marketing communication. Thank you so much.